I love getting my laundry done. My towels that I put down here, they're all fresh and clean. I've got clean clothes in my drawers. I love having clean things, and so it's worth it to go to the laundromat. I didn't have a lot this week, but I almost didn't go because I thought, well, I need more, but clothes to be putting in the washer to justify paying that amount of money. I wish they had smaller machines there. The smallest they have is $3.25. So I really didn't even fill one of those, but I'm still glad I got it all done. Yay, yeah. But I did have a letter here that really sums up. This is from Kayla. She says, having beauty surrounding me makes a huge difference. I'm exactly the same way. I love having things aesthetically pleasing to my eyes. So many van lifers don't seem to care about beauty. Select your favorite colors, designs, feel good things to you. It's your home, not a storage unit. Exactly. This is my home. I do like this flower. I've really settled on this flower. It gives yellow just as a little bit of, it's different. A little bit of yellow. I got some turquoise. I might actually redo this flower for a change. I got my colored lights. I did add a different cover on my blankets and pillows are under here in case you didn't know. Yeah, this is my sleeping bag, and I rolled it out to go to sleep here on the floor. And then I've got blankets and pillows under here. Yeah, and this kind of covers it so it looks nice. And of course I've got my puppy up there. I know. Yeah, I got my puppy up there. So thank you. I agree. Having things looking nice is so important to me. I feel comfortable. I feel like being motivated inside of here, you know, when I'm in here, so I can write, so I can read, so I can just relax. Yeah. This is a long letter, so hang on. But it's worthy. I've been hanging on to this. I started out renting and roommates, typically the younger years. I've since owned a condo and then a 3-bedroom house. After the divorce, I lost the house in that ridiculous banking situation in mid-2000s. On my own at that time, I returned to a couple different rental situations. We've been talking a lot about rent, so I like this. And I haven't read this for a long time, so I'm not even sure where this is going. We're reading this for the first time together. I read it a long time ago, but I don't remember. About 7 years ago, I took a week and went camping in my 35-year-old travel trailer. 1 week turned into 2. Cool. I did it while gainfully employed. See, you can still work and live, yes, in your trailer or minivan or whatever. Not out of necessity, but for the enjoyment. Exactly. I was and had been living in a resort town high up in the Sierra in California. 4 years later, I developed back issues preventing me from working any longer. I've been full-time housed in my trailer for almost 7 years. Yes. The past 3, unable to do physical work, but old enough to draw Social Security. Okay, it goes on. The last 4 years, I've spent winters in Quartzsite and Ehrenberg, BLM, the summer months in the National Forest in California. All that said, I've always been respectful of the environment. Thank you. Where I've lived, in an apartment dweller, homeowner, or boondocker. I dispose of my trash. I don't make a lot of noise, and I don't have broken down junk outdoors. That's refreshing because I'm seeing more and more of that. They have broken down junk. What they do is they hunker into one spot. I'll get back to this in a second. And I see it. I see it all around town. And I do see it in Tucson also, where they're parked there. And what they do is to make a nice little campground for themselves at a park, which is wrong, or in a parking lot. They just put their junk outside. Yeah, it's very trashy looking, and I don't like it. So I know exactly what you're talking about. And then you go on to say, I don't even build fires. I micro clean my site. I leave not a single sign that I was there. Me too. My concern for the last 7 years being on public lands is that other less responsible full-timers would eventually ruin it for the rest of us. You know, whether you live bricks and sticks in a neighborhood or out on public land. If you're not responsible, you're going to draw attention as you are a problem. Okay, I see this both in the Quartzsite region as well as here in Eastern Sierra Forest. Any form of manager is only concerned by tenants, neighbors, campers who cause problems for them. It's the problem children that ruin it for the rest of us. It's not that difficult or costly to get rid of garbage, and yet people of all incomes can be lazy and inconsiderate. The homeless community, both rural and urban, is only going to grow. Yeah. It's a darn shame that we don't better monitor ourselves. But I don't blame the enforcement entities for cracking down. It's those people in the Class A with a trailer and 2 cars you referenced. They pissed me off. Okay, yeah. Well, that's my rant. And then you go on to say, yes. And so you have another point to make. So stop here in a second, because I think that's interesting too. Thank you for this. And I have been, so you know, I've been hanging on to this just for a little while because I thought it was really good. In fact, it was so long I had to take screenshots, 3 or 4, and save them. That was really good. I mean, make sure there's no hair in my mouth, right? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that is so important. And because we have more people out here, we have younger people, middle-aged people, older people, and some of them are just downright pissed off. They're mad because they think, well, I didn't get mine. And especially if you're younger, I didn't get mine. I should have been owning a house by now, and now it's impossible. And the American dream isn't even in sight for me. Some of those people are kind of ticked off right now. Yeah, I would say around the late 30 and the 40-year-olds, they're kind of upset because that's the passage that age group is going through. I should have had it by now. They look at their life and they say, what the heck happened? Instead of looking at themselves, I notice that a lot of them, because I've studied this, that they're pissed off at the whole world. You did this to me. Instead of looking at, well, what could I have done different? You know, it might just not be in your stars to go ahead and own a home. I do realize, though, that what has happened over the past 3 years is crazy what has happened. Everything has gone up at least 50%. Yeah, even apples. I think apples are up to like 150% higher. So, and I'm guessing at that. But I know there's some things that are like 300% higher. So a lot of young people right now are going, what happened? Okay. So, but they're pissed off. And so when they're out here in their cars, they don't care. They're angry and they don't care. And they think their way of expressing themselves is just to throw things around. There's a lot of people, and there are people who weren't brought up to clean. I mean, there are all kinds of social, economic levels, right? And people are brought up all different. And some people are just plain slobs. I mean, or they're dirty people. They weren't brought up to be clean at all. Or they have mental issues. There's a lot of mentally ill people walking around. We all can see them. They're mentally ill. And they've got issues upon issues. They're not thinking well. They could be on medications. They could be drug addicts. They might be alcoholics. And maybe they were before, and they just don't have the brain power anymore. Or they're just so high on sugar. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so we've got all these different people. Now they're out here living in their vans or their cars, and they're making a mess. So I agree. We've got to be careful. We really do. There's a couple of subjects I'm going to be talking about. I'm doing a little bit of research on it now. One person twice sent me comments that we're all screwed now because the government, it's now illegal to park on the streets in cities. The Supreme Court said so. Well, I'm studying that, and that's really not entirely true. So, okay. I'll be talking about that too. But if we do find in cities that they're destroying neighborhoods because they're just leaving trash over, that could become a reality. So we need to just kind of knock it off a little bit. Okay, so there's my rant. Now let's move on. He says, well, that's my rant. Well, there's mine. On a lighter note, the first video of yours I watched was regarding relationships and how couples mesh. That must have been the one. It was called 25 Years Alone. I spent 25 years not alone. I had my children around me, and I had some friends, but I'm talking about I wasn't in a relationship. I was totally solo. For 25 years, I did not date. I did not consider dating, and I talked about that, how that affected me in that 25 years, now that it was over, because I was with Paul at the time. Of course, I'm back to the 25 years again. I'm adding up. Because, I do find that for me personally, because of my personality and because there's other issues too I've been studying, some people do better alone. So you said on the meshing. Yes, you mentioned that meshing, and I talked about that. When you are with somebody, and it's not good or bad. Some of you that watch that said, well, what are we not supposed to be with somebody? No, I'm not saying that meshing is bad. I'm comparing the two situations. When you are with somebody for a long period of time, there's a meshing that goes on of ideas, beliefs. Oh yeah. Usually when two people are together, even if they don't have the same ideas, eventually they mesh. And it's a survival that you can survive with this person because you love them so much. And I did notice that with Paul and I. The longer I was with him, the more our ideas meshed and our thoughts meshed. I could say, he would think something and I would say something. He goes, I was just thinking of that. Yeah. And I would do the same thing. And we started really meshing our ideas together. And I think that's where a lot of the grieving process comes in when things don't work out. When they don't work out, where is that meshing? It's gone. And so then you're alone in your thoughts. And it's really difficult to deal with. There's a grieving process that has to happen, right? But that is so true. He obviously agreed with it. Let's see what else he said. In so doing, they give up a part of themselves in a way. But that's kind of a good thing. I was happy to give up part of myself. I really was. I was happy to mesh. There were a lot of problems. So, okay. There were a lot of issues. Yeah. There were parts of me that I wasn't willing to give up. And I think that's where a lot of conflict came in, like with his smoking and with his use of nicotine products. That they made me ill and I couldn't get close. Yeah. And so those were things I couldn't give up. I couldn't give up my health, but, he was a wonderful guy, really wonderful guy. But and then we meshed our ideas, but there was a lifestyle thing that couldn't be meshed, right? And you say, I really like how you stated that. Likewise, I've not wanted to be in a relationship again like that. I like having friends, but also very much like living alone. Me too. I really do better. I found out, so I did learn something from that. I do better being solo. I really, really do. I can take care of myself. I really can. And as far as protection, I can protect myself, and I've got God to protect me. I don't need somebody around to protect me. And since that video, I've hoped to someday cross paths and meet and become friends. Yeah, me too. You sound like a really cool guy. Maybe coming this winter. Who knows? Keep on trucking, girl. Thank you. Yeah, there's a lot that happens when the meshing gets ripped apart. It hurts. It's actually, I can actually see it. Imagine in your mind that somebody's taken this meshing and they're together, and then it's like pulling apart, and it's like you have to almost rip it apart. Yeah, and it hurts. It's stripped off of you. Meshing is I see it all the time in relationships. Is it good? Of course it is. That's what relationships are supposed to be. You're supposed to mesh. But if something is there and it doesn't work, there's parts that don't work, and it depends on who wants the breakup too. I mean, so it's going to really hurt the person who didn't want it, right? And yeah, I know I wasn't happy about it, but I will mention, because you mentioned this, I was going to even talk about this. Okay, so I am moving on to closer to, it's been a year. I say you got to give this stuff a year. You really do. It's moving on to a year. And being in the same area of when the breakup happened, last few days has been like, yeah, it's getting towards that time. It's bringing up some memories and things like that. But I'll tell you what, I'm good with it. And I saw this one. Here's something I saw. This gal, she talked about it, and I actually put it on my Facebook page. I shared it on there. Is that when you're going through something traumatic like that, and it is, some people made fun of it. They say, oh, you just need to get over it. No, there's a grieving that has to happen. That was an almost 4-year relationship. And the grieving has to happen. And I took the time to grieve, to cry. You went through it with me in a lot of cases and a lot of videos. And I just let it out. I really did. Did a lot of crying. Oh my gosh. Lost a lot of water. Yeah. But I'll tell you what. And she mentioned that you can't think of anything but the healing. You have to go through the grieving and you have to heal. You can't think about anything. You can't think about forgiveness. You can't, that's the farthest from your mind. And you shouldn't think about it yet. Because if you go through the healing process and the grieving process properly, then you can swing around and then you can forgive. So yeah, there's total forgiveness, and it's total. I don't even have any ill feelings towards anybody. I mean, even his ex who stalked me for 4 years, I have no ill feelings. I really don't. And I hope they're both doing well. I hope she's doing well. I hope he's doing well, and I forgive. There's no ill feelings left because I took the time to grieve. And I think when we talked about that, the meshing, I think that's one of the things that really makes it hurt so bad. Yeah, that you had your thoughts and you shared so much of this. And now where is it? It's gone. Yeah. Well, I'm okay. And I really thank you for this letter. If you have, even if it's a comments or questions, let's discuss it right here together. Okay. Okay, everybody. It's a wonderful day. Everything's clean. Oh my gosh. Yes. So I'm going to make some breakfast. Okay. And I'm going to just enjoy my day. Yes, I am. I love you guys. Mwah. I love you. I enjoy being with you. I really do. I feel like, excuse me. I feel like we are friends. Let's just like pretend like we're sitting at your kitchen table and we're just chit-chatting and talking about things that, what I call the juice of life, relationships, and the psychology of things and other people. I'm just a girl who lives in a minivan and have for 7 years. I'm Minivan Lee, and I just love spending time with you. So thank you. Bye now. Till tomorrow, okay? Please subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Love you. I do. Bye.